Hey everybody, this is Rustin with Metalholic, and with me today, Kiko Loureiro. Hopefully I got that right. Guitar virtuoso for Angra and Solo and so many other projects and everything. Are you still in Brazil or are you in LA right now? Or
I'm living in LA, but now I'm in Brazil, and I just did a great show yesterday night. We shoot a DVD in a very beautiful theater here in the Central Park in São Paulo. But I'm back next week to LA.
nice. Well, I want to talk about that. That's the DVD that's going to be the White Balance. But first, quickly, happy birthday, my friend.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we're getting old. Yeah.
So tell us about the White Balance. Friday night, you guys performed that special concert, and you did, I think, like 3 or 4 different sets or something. A lot of your old friends were there to help you out. Give us a little bit more in-depth detail on that.
Yeah. So yeah, because the thing is, like, I have my solo career. I went through this metal things, prog, guitar virtuoso, as you said, like this guitar things, but also a lot of Latin jazz and Brazilian music that I love to play. And so I did one set with more Latin jazz. I could say Brazilian music. But actually I was 2 Cuban guys. So half was Brazilian, the drummer and the bass player, and the half was Cuban, the pianist and the percussionist, and me. So that was the first set. And then I did a little bit of acoustic guitar. I love to play classical guitar, nylon, which is a great tradition from Brazil. It's like our main instrument. I know in the U.S. it's more like the folk, steel strings, and electric guitar. In Brazil, it's mainly the nylon, Spanish kind of classical guitar.
Right.
So I grew up practicing guitar and listening to this kind of music. So I did a second set, a short set with acoustic guitar. I invited my friend from Angra, Rafael, my buddy for 20 years of Angra, and then we played one Angra song in the acoustic guitar. And then the next set was the rock set of the show, and with Virgil Donati on drums. And it's great. It was some percussion as well. I'm always like my pursuit of finding the good balance of this Latin Brazilian thing with rock. I have one of my guitar heroes. I have many guitar heroes, right? So all this Jeff Beck, Wes Montgomery, or Steve Vai or George Benson. But one is like Carlos Santana. Because of the way he always did his music, blending this Latin percussion and rock. So that's a little bit of what I'm trying to do, finding a good balance of my actual roots, Brazilian music, with rock and guitar, my guitar playing.
And that's one of the things that I admire about your music, the way you pull in so many different elements, whether it's rock or some blues or Latin-flavored jazz, Brazilian, and even the Cuban flavors. It's never just run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, that's why I think this is very natural for me in a way, because I was always the guy that liked to listen to different kinds of music, So I was when I was 13, I was discovering all these rock bands. I remember, like, we had the Rock in Rio in Brazil.
Right.
The first one, I was 12 or 13, and suddenly there was showing the TV in these national channels, like the concert from Yes, everything in the same week. Yes, Queen, Whitesnake, Ozzy Osbourne, George Benson, James Taylor, AC/DC, who else? Iron Maiden, and all these bands in the same like in 5 days. And Yes, in these great times, Queen and Iron Maiden and all this. So I was Whitesnake. So I was mesmerized of all these great players and great music. So I was really into rock since I was 12, 13. But I always kept my passion for the Brazilian music as well.
Right.
I never, normally the people even in Brazil that likes rock, they can't deny the tradition. They don't want to, because of course we have a lot of bad Brazilian music that is every day in the TV shows and radios, but we have beautiful stuff. So I never denied my roots, as a Brazilian. So I always try to study it and play and learn from these great composers and musicians from Brazil. So I was always open-minded. So that's why in my music now you can hear both elements, the rock and the Brazilian stuff,
Right, and some other things as well. You have a great mix. The new album, Sounds of Innocence, came out last year. Did you have a direction in mind approaching your fourth solo album, or was this simply a group of inspired pieces?
Well, the overall idea is always to find this good balance of what I was really trying to make is like a tasteful melodies, something that I feel that I really like the melodies, and they kind of connect to people. People can understand. I'm always afraid to be a boring guitar player, like playing scales up and down. So I try to, although I do play scales up and down, I avoid to be doing this all the time. And then, so I'm really concerned about the melodies and the structures of the songs, so the songs don't get boring. Because if you have a nice melody and you keep repeating the same nice melodies, they're gonna be boring. So I don't like very long songs, and so I try to melodies and good structure for the songs, and then the good balance of rock and my percussion and Brazilian harmonies and Brazilian melodies. That's my goal every time I compose something. And then then I just let it flow, because if you think too much, nothing comes out,
Right. And you're going to be releasing a deluxe version of the CD this Tuesday on the 18th, right?
Yeah. In US, because it was not in US. Actually, I was with the record company in Japan got it first, and that's why they released much earlier the album there. And then, but finally in US, I'm now based in the US, so I can do easier to do promotion and all this. So yes, it's going to be the 18th, Tuesday, next Tuesday, right?
Beautiful. So let's talk about just a few of the songs on the album, because we can't obviously take the time to talk about all of them, but you're offering the track Conflicted for free download on your website right now, so people go check it out if you haven't heard it yet. There's definitely an 80s vibe there. I can't help but recall Satriani in places. Was that the direction you were headed? Was that the feel you were going for on that one?
Yeah, I have. It's like as a heavier Satriani. In a way, yeah. There is the 80s. I grew up. I was practicing guitar a lot, late 80s, early 90s. Mm-hmm. So I got really influenced by this period for the guitar players, And then I'm a big fan of Satriani in this kind of vibe. But that song is heavier.
Right.
Has it starts kind of a Metallica, James Hetfield kind of riff. And then the song takes you other places in the interlude, in the mid section of the song. You have a tapping and something more atmospherical, more Pink Floyd kind of vibe, could say. I don't know. And then there's a heavier song. This one has no Brazilian thing. When you listen to the whole album, then you understand. Okay, this guy must be Brazilian or Latin or something. He doesn't come from U.S. But for that song, you couldn't tell, I think, because it is more 80s, heavier Metallica, Satriani, kind of thing. It's some prog metal, prog rock parts as well. And then, the whole album, I don't know the other one you're going to talk about, but some other ones are more really Brazilian stuff.
Right. There's a lot of really great stuff on there that's got some of that in it. But there's also a couple of tracks that are a little bit off the beaten path for you. The Hymn is something of a new twist for you, from what I can tell. Tell us a little bit about that track.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. This, I think, I just wanted to find a different groove and a different way of doing melodies. This is much more like Jeff Beck, early Jeff Beck stuff. And then that I really like what he's doing. He has been doing the past 10 years. And then, the Hymn is kind of has this vibe of, it's like a kind of drum and bass drums somehow with a Foo Fighters. For me, that's the way I see, because I have the harmonies a bit Nirvana for me,
Right.
The chord changes a bit. So for me, it's like a drum and bass in the A section, and then the B section is a bit Foo Fighters, like straight rock vibe. So that was the idea of the song.
Right, and then you're obviously renowned for your guitar work, but much like Eddie Van Halen, people don't realize you're also a pianist. Tell us about the album's final track. I believe that has some special meaning for you.
Oh yeah, this. Well, I composed it in the piano. This song, yeah. And
A Perfect Rhyme. I forgot to mention it. A Perfect Rhyme is the song.
A Perfect Rhyme, yeah. Yeah. And actually, every album I did so far in my life, what happened, like, you concentrate. I always concentrate to have like 8-9 songs, and I work really hard for these 8-9 songs, because I know that during the process of the recording, a new song is going to come out. I know that. Nowadays, I know that. Because you get so much into the album, doing the process, that more ideas start coming, and then you want to put in the album's already done, you cannot put the new idea, So I always let a space, a spot for a new song that is going to come during the process of recordings or mixing or something like this. This happened in the other albums already, and this time again, I was really like, recording the guitars and stuff, and I had a baby during this composition and recording, rehearsal time. I became a father, and then I was one of these, in the moments during the night playing piano just to relax. That's what I do. It's kind of my meditation moment. So when I play, acoustic guitar or piano. And I came this beautiful melody. For me, it's really beautiful melody. And then that kind of, connect to this new feeling of being a father and all this. And then I said, well, I have to put this song in the album. That's why it's a guitar and piano only, no drums, nothing else, because all the drums were recorded already. So it's just it's a simple song in a way that the arrangements are kind of not complicated. It's just a melody. I'm showing a beautiful melody that I wrote, thinking about this moment of being a father. And then of course the actual piano in the album is my wife is playing, because she's a really professional pianist. I'm just I'm a guitarist trying to play piano. So she did the piano, she did the piano, the actual piano, and then I did some orchestration to have a nice orchestra sound in the back. So I think it's a very nice song. I'm really proud of that song.
Absolutely. It's a great song. And as you said, there's a lot of songs in the album that have the Brazilian themes in them, and I'll probably butcher the names, like Me de Agua and El Guairo. But there's one in there, Twisted Horizon, that sort of came out of your time over in Finland, right?
Yes. So I was actually the album I composed in Finland. I was living there. I recorded guitars there in Finland. Yeah, so I was like having this feeling of, because I grew up here in Brazil, so the horizon was like twisted, and everything is upside down, right? It's like in the US, but in Finland you feel more, because like how cold it is, and the winter is really it's a hard winter, so you feel more like you're like up there in Finland. So yeah, then I did this song, kind of to reflect everything that I was living there, in a different country and a different people, weird language, really weird language, and very hard to adapt. into the society somehow. And then I wrote that song. Yeah.
So, aside from the album, a lot of stuff always going on with you. Let's go through a couple of things real quick before we get out of here. You are working with Ibanez guitars now. Obviously, they're working on a signature guitar for you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, getting to the Ibanez guitar team, and I'm really, happy about that. I'm proud to be with Ibanez now. And so far I'm using the prototypes of the guitar they're gonna launch very soon. Just I'm checking out the woods and the neck shape. This to feel very comfortable the way I like. Mainly that the hardware, the wood, and then the shape of the neck. That's very important. After you've been playing for a long time, you want to feel comfortable. You just don't want to grab a totally different guitar that you have to readapt everything. So just work on that, and then probably the NAMM 2014 they're gonna launch the guitar.
So, and earlier in the interview we mentioned Billy Sheehan. Earlier this spring, I believe you did some recording with Billy and Derek Sherinian. What was that all about?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a project from it's Italian drummer that in LA, and then he put together Billy Sheehan, Derek Sherinian, and he asked me to do, to record some guitars in the project. I don't know, it's Groovy though, the name of the project, but I don't know if it's out. I don't think it's out already. I think he's mixing still. Yeah.
You've worked with Derek before anyway, right?
No, well, I know Derek. No, I never worked really direct with him. We play in festivals, I remember him playing with Dream Theater, and then I was with Angra in festivals and meeting him, and we just hang out in LA together, but actually we never got on stage together.
Right.
So, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Actually, I invited him to come to this DVD show, but he couldn't because he's playing with Billy Idol this month, so he couldn't make it. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. He's a great player, great person, really cool guy.
Right.
He's an awesome player.
Well, it was 20 years ago that you guys released the first Angra album. What's going on with the band at this point? I know you're Sans vocalist right now.
Yeah, so it's 20 years. It's a long time, man. I have to tell you. So any band that has 20 years go through a lot of stuff. So we're working with the Italian singer now that calls Fabio Leone. Mm-hmm. He's more like as a guest because he has all the bands. He's a great singer, great friend of us. We did a few shows with him. It was great vibe. He's a great singer. Everything was really cool. And then we had so many offers to do a tour with him that we're gonna do in August now. Tour in South America, around 15 shows in August now with him. So that's gonna be great, I'm sure. And after that, we're gonna see, because we were planning to put a Brazilian. Everybody from the band is from Brazil, so we always wanted to find a Brazilian singer, and our fans, the people that we have a huge fan base in Brazil. And then not only the music, but the Brazilians, they're really proud of Angra, because we have the international career, and then they're really proud of us, and then they really expect us to ask a Brazilian guy to sing, in the band. We feel that. And then we have this Fabio with his Italian, but in the show, the response was so great that let's see what's going to happen. But we already have around 15 shows booked in August. So Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Chile, I don't remember now. I think Ecuador and Colombia. There's many shows, everything in August. And then it's going to be fun for sure.
Maybe 2014 we'll see a new album?
Yeah, that would be the idea. Yeah, just to do this tour, get back. It's always better to go back, to start something from the concert,
Right.
For my experience, because everybody has a busy life nowadays. So when you are on tour, everybody's together. You're forced to be together. So you gotta get the flights, the fans, driving here and there, breakfast in the hotel, dinners and stuff. So the band is together all the time. And then to the time to talk, to see the new directions, where you're going to be, what you want to do, when it's going to be, So I think doing a tour is great because everybody's in the same vibe, everybody's together, and then that's a good time to talk and define the future, Otherwise you have to, face traffic, to do meetings and boring meetings, everybody has this busy life and the traffic, all the projects and all this, and things never happen. So it's great to do a tour, and during the tour you make great plans for the future. And then on the tour too, it's very good, to play with the other guys and sound checking riffs, or in the hotel rooms, acoustic guitar, sharing ideas, that's very good as well.
Absolutely.
It's like I always have, always worked with us very well in this way,
It's been 5 years. Will we see another Neural Code album, or was that just sort of a one-off thing?
Oh, wow. So you know everything, huh? I'm impressed. Well, man, I have to tell you, Neural Code, was a kind of project, very fusion with the Brazilian elements again.
Right.
As two amazing guys. For me, one of the best musicians in Brazil. The great musician I ever played with. And of course, we wanted, every time we meet, we say, yeah, let's do another one. But the two guys, the drummer and the bass player, one is Cuca, the drummer, and then Thiago is the bass player. They're so good and so busy. Everybody wants to play with them.
Right.
So they're always touring with big artists and all this. So it's just hard. I mean, I'm also, living in LA and it's just hard to, but we want to do it. It's going to happen.
Nice. All right, so our final question before we get out of here, just sort of for fun. If you could sit down and spend an evening with any person, past or present, living or dead, besides family, of course, who would it be and why?
Well, I always think about a musician, but we could think about, that's like some genius minds, could be Albert Einstein. It would be good to chat with him, or Steve Jobs would be great too. But thinking about music, Wayne Shorter, I think he sees music in a different perspective. I would love to understand. There's another guy, but this I had a chance to chat with him because we spent 5 days together. Alan Holdsworth.
Oh, right.
I was always very curious to know him and why that music he does comes from his fingers. Why? And I had we did a summer camp 2 years ago, and it was great. So I had 5 days with him. I kind of understood better his music. And Wayne Shorter would be one of these guys, and very interesting. Joe Zawinul as well, the Weather Report. I would love to talk about music with this such genius person.
Nice. All great choices. Kiko Loureiro of Angra, of course, guitar virtuoso in his own right, besides the DVD, The White Balance, out hopefully later this year, and the deluxe edition for those of us here in the States, The Sounds of Innocence, out this Tuesday. Pick it up. Check out the websites. Kiko, you have a wonderful blog as well, so fans, go check that out. You can get a breakdown of every song on the new album. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us, man.
Thanks, Rustin. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.